Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 5 healthy swaps for traditional junk food. So I'm definitely not saying you can't eat junk food, you totally can, but personally, I don't like to include junk food as a part of my core diet, so my core foods that I eat on a daily basis. However, I would be totally fine to add in these healthy swaps because they are much healthier versions of the traditional junk food, and I love to incorporate these into my daily diet because I love eating foods that are both healthy and taste good. That is my main goal whenever I cook a meal. I want it to be healthy but also taste amazing. So here are 5 swaps that you can use to make your meals a little bit healthier and still really enjoy the food. So first up, we have chips. So I love hot chips. It's one of my favorite ways to eat potatoes, and for the longest time I would just, eat regular fried chips. However, in the past few years, as I've tried to maintain more of a healthy, balanced lifestyle, instead of buying deep fried chips, I make my own baked potato chips at home. This is actually so simple, and you don't even need 1 drop of oil. You can add a little bit of spray oil if you want, just to add a bit more flavor. However, they work fine with 0 oil. All you need is potatoes and some herbs and spices. So this is a really great option if you love potato chips and you still want to have that delicious crispy potato chip, but you don't want all of the added fats and toxic chemicals that can sometimes be apparent in fried foods. Because when they fry chips to really high temperatures, they're often using oils that aren't meant to be at that high of a temperature, and it can create some toxic substances, as well as obviously it's very high in trans fat, which, as you know, contributes to heart disease and a whole plethora of health issues if you're having too much trans fat. So I highly recommend trying out these homemade baked potato chips. They are so tasty, especially when you dip them in a bit of tomato sauce or barbecue sauce or whatever you like to have. I probably make these at least once a fortnight because they're just so good and I love them so much. So definitely try that out. Alright, so the second junk food is ice cream. I personally love ice cream, and I definitely still would eat ice cream. If I was out at a restaurant, everyone was having dinner and they happened to have a vegan ice cream, I would 100% have it. However, I wouldn't have it every day when I'm at home. So what I like to do is make banana ice cream instead. And all this is getting some bananas, freezing them, and then blending them in a high-speed food processor. It is so easy to make. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it honestly, it has the same texture as ice cream. I think it tastes better because you know what you're eating is actually good for you. I always find when I know what I'm eating is also good for me nutritionally, I enjoy it even more because I just have that good feeling that I'm actually nourishing my body at the same time as eating something that tastes delicious in my mouth. So I personally love ice cream, and you can totally add different flavors to it. You could add in cocoa powder to make it chocolatey. You could add in frozen strawberries to make a strawberry one. You could sprinkle some nuts over the top or some choc chips to give it a bit of, a crunchy element. There's so many things you can do with ice cream, and honestly, it is a game changer. If you haven't tried this yet, I highly recommend giving it a go. It's just, so good. So I highly recommend trying that one out if you haven't already. Now on to number 3 is pizza. So we all love pizza. I mean, who doesn't like pizza? But if you buy a pizza from a store like Domino's or Pizza Hut, you're looking at around 2,000 calories for one pizza, which is equal to our daily recommended calorie intake for most women. So getting a pizza at one of those chains isn't really the best option, and also it doesn't really have that many great nutrients. It's mostly carbs and fats with very little protein. Especially when you're getting them out, because a lot of places don't really have many vegan sources of protein to add to your pizza. So often what I find when I'm eating out, it's just a big pizza base with maybe a bit of vegan cheese and then some veggies on top. So I'm not really getting any protein into that meal. Whereas when you make pita pizzas at home, the base is a lot thinner because they're using a pita instead, which is also a lot lower in calories. And then you could also add on some vegan cheese if you want, but the main thing that you can add on is a great source of protein. So I love making smoky barbecue tempeh and adding that on top of my pizza. It is so tasty, and it is a great source of protein. It's also high in fiber. And then personally, I like to add avocado instead of cheese, but you could totally add vegan cheese if you have that. I'm just not a big cheese fan in the first place, so I tend to really not buy much vegan cheese. But you can make it however you like. It is way lower in calories, but it has much more nutrition than if you were buying a similar pizza out at a store. So I highly recommend trying pita pizzas. Again, they are so simple. You just have a pita, add some sauce, sauce, add whatever toppings you like, and then put it in the oven for about 10 minutes and you're done. So good, so tasty, and you can eat the whole pizza as your meal and still, you know, eat all your other regular foods for the day and not feel like you are bloated or just like you feel sluggish. If I ate a whole pizza when I was out, I'd probably feel a bit sluggish because it is so big and so filling, and yeah. Whereas when I eat a pita pizza at home, I feel amazing afterwards. I actually had one yesterday and I felt so good afterwards. I had it for lunch, not even for dinner, and it was just so good. So highly recommend that one. All right, so number 4 is highly processed snack foods. So for example, in Australia, one of our most popular snack foods are shapes. I used to eat shapes all the time and I still love them, and I mean, I would still eat them, but I don't really go out and buy a packet of shapes anymore because I do know that they are highly processed and contain a lot of additives in them. So what you can do instead is something that I've recently found out and it tastes so good, which is making homemade shapes pizza flavored snacks. So I was randomly making, I think, sweet potato chips a few weeks ago, and I added a whole range of different spices, and then when I took a bite, it tasted like pizza shapes, and I was like, what? Why does it taste like pizza shapes? Then I looked online for the herbs and spices in pizza shapes, and it was basically all of the herbs and spices that I had put onto my sweet potato chips. So I decided to make my own little recipe. So you can just cut up the sweet potatoes nice and thin, add on all of the different spices, put it in the oven, and then you've got these little pizza circle shape things, and they honestly taste so good, and it's way less processed. Well, it's not processed at all really, so it's a much healthier version of the traditional shapes, and honestly they're so tasty, and I think kids would love this, especially because it has that nostalgic pizza shape flavor, but it is a much healthier alternative and you're getting way more fiber in there, way more nutrition. You know, you have sweet potatoes are really good for you because they are packed full of beta carotene, so you're getting all that added nutrition in with that same great taste. So I highly recommend trying these pizza shaped flavored sweet potato bites if you have a little bit of spare time and you want to try a new snack. It's honestly so simple to make and spot on with the flavor. So the final junk food swap that I'm going to be sharing with you today is cookies. So I love cookies, like I just love them. And if I was at a cafe and they had a beautiful looking choc chip vegan cookie, I would 100% want to buy it because I just love cookies. They're so good, you know, with a cup of tea or with a cup of coffee. I just love them. But what I have developed is a protein cookie recipe that honestly tastes so good. And it is way healthier because it has almost 10 grams of protein in each cookie, and it only has 3 ingredients, and then you can add in additional ingredients like choc chips or like hemp seeds or chopped nuts if you want to add a bit more bulk to it. But the main recipe only has 3 ingredients, so it's super simple. It's only 10 minutes in the oven and then you are done and your house smells amazing. And yeah, I just highly recommend these protein cookies if you're craving something sweet and delicious but you don't want to go and have a whole massive hit of sugar, because what I find is when I eat, you know, a traditional cookie which is made with sugar, they're usually made with butter as well, it's just, I feel a bit afterwards because of the big rush of sugar. However, when you have one of these, it's just like a nice gradual release and you get the protein hit as well, which is really good for after a workout. Honestly, I can't rave about my protein cookies enough. They are probably my favorite recipe I've ever created because they're just so simple and so delicious and so versatile because you can add in different flavors to it. You can use whatever protein powder you have at home, and yeah, they just work really well. Everyone who I've got to try them has loved them, so if you try one recipe, try the protein cookies because they're honestly so good. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it has been helpful to you to find some healthy swaps for traditional junk food that, you know, you might still love, which obviously I still love too, but you might just not want to have it as often because, you know, it does have higher amounts of fat, sugar, it has less protein, and being able to make these foods at home in a healthier way is just so cool because then you can still enjoy those delicious foods but just in a slightly healthier way. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are safe and well, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!